What's good, y'all? I'm Zay. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And as you can see, your boy got a haircut. I had to chop the top. Now, the reason I had to chop the top is because I have a confession. I am balding. Yes, it's true. It is true. When you turn 30 plus, your hair starts to go. Well, anyway, welcome back, y'all. So I sent out a poll to my audience asking them what video they wanted to see next. And the overwhelming response was you guys wanted to hear about the shit they don't tell you when you're buying a home. And so today's video, I'm going to tell you guys 6 things that my wife and I wish we had known when we were buying our house. Now, for transparency purposes, the 6 things that I'm going to tell you are derived from my home buying journey, and for the most part, it was pretty smooth, but I think these 6 things will give you an inside view. However, if you guys had anything happen to you differently, or if your home buying process was a little bit different, comment below so we can, get a discussion going of, what are the things that you wish you had known when you were buying a home. Now, without further ado, guys, let's get into the video. So the first thing we wish we had known when we were buying our house is that you cannot make multiple offers on homes. So when we were buying our house, there were 2 houses that we really liked. One had pretty much everything we wanted, and it was at the top of our budget. And then there was another house that needed a little bit of work, but it was move-in ready and it was well within our budget. So we really couldn't decide. So we went to our realtor, was like, hey man, we want to put an offer in on both houses. And he basically told us, no, you can't do that, because if both sellers accept your offer, then you have to move forward with the financing and you don't want to get stuck with 2 mortgages. And the only way you can back out is if like financing falls through or if inspection falls through. So just know you cannot make multiple offers. So when you're making an offer, make sure it's the house you want. And that actually leads me into my next point. And so point number 2 is that the seller must respond to your offer within 3 days. And so guys, let me paint the picture. When we go visit our houses that we were looking at, it was a Saturday when our realtor took us out. And the very first house we went and saw, the pictures were terrible and we didn't really even want to go see it. But our realtor was like, come check it out. So we get to the house, and guys, when we walk in, we're like, this is a lot better than the pictures. So we're walking on the first floor. We're like, this is like a nice open concept. This is kind of what we're looking for. And then the nail in the coffin is he takes us down to the basement. And our basement, it's already finished, as well as it had an office. And that was just like a key selling point for us. And so after, we went and saw the other houses, our realtor told us, look, nobody put an offer in on that first house that's in y'all budget. Do you guys want to put an offer in? And so for us, a lot was going on. So we were like, yeah. So we put our offer in on a Sunday. Now that means he had to respond to us on a Wednesday. And the position we were in, knowing that we were going to get an answer by Wednesday, it just gave us peace of mind. So if you want to be strategic, when you're buying a house, try to put your offer in on a Sunday, so that way the seller has to respond midweek, because if he declines, that means he has to go through another weekend of showing his house, and say he doesn't get an offer, well, money is left on the table. So that's just the second thing we wish we knew. And so the third thing that they usually don't tell you about, or we wish we had known when it comes to buying a home, are inspection and appraisal costs. Now, we were kind of aware of these, and the biggest reason I'm making this a point is because the money is non-refundable, right? And so the reason it's non-refundable is because you're not paying your realtor. It's like you're paying the appraiser and the inspection guy. And so if the inspection or appraisal falls through, or the deal falls through, that's a sunken cost. You don't get that money back. And it's basically because they're doing a job. So if you find another house, you have to come up with another $1,000 or whatever, those costs can be. And so that's definitely something you want to watch out for, are those appraisal and inspection costs. And so the fourth thing that we wish we had known is how involved HOA is in the home buying process. Now for us, our HOA had to approve the sale of our home. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because as soon as we bought our house, y'all, we started getting letters from our HOA about improvements that we needed to make. And we're like, why didn't this come up during the inspection or anything? And apparently HOA had been sending letters to the former owner, and he didn't relay that information to us, and basically HOA approved the sale of the house, and they were like, well, now it's your problem. So if your HOA is involved, go check with them to see if there's any outstanding fines or any projects that need to be done. So that way, before you close on the house, you can ask your seller to do them, or maybe you negotiate on a price because you have to do them. So at the end of the day, some HOAs have to approve the sale of your home, and that's something we didn't know. And the fifth thing we wish we had known, or wish we knew more about, are closing costs. So we were pretty aware of closing costs. We knew that was a part of the home buying process. But in our area where we live, and we live in Washington, D.C. area, Northern Virginia, and if anybody's familiar with that, then home prices are pretty expensive up here. So 2 to 3% is like 10, 15 grand. And so you need to be aware of those closing costs when buying a home. So on average, closing costs are 2 to 3% of the home value. So depending on where you live, when you are about to get serious at looking at buying a home, make sure you take that into account along with your down payment. Because I know people personally who have gotten to the table, didn't have enough because they didn't have enough of their closing costs, and they had to back out of a deal. Now, if you get lucky and you get your seller to pay for those closing costs because you negotiate that, well, you just save some money, and that's a good thing. So at the end of the day, guys, just make sure you are aware and plan for and budget for those closing costs, because you don't want that to be a deal breaker. And so the sixth and final thing we wish we had known when we were buying our houses, that you can buy points. Now, buying points means you can put more of a down payment so you get a lower interest rate. Now, when we were buying our house, interest rates were pretty low, so we didn't feel the need to have to buy points. But if you're in a situation where interest rates have gone up and you have the money to do it and you want a lower interest rate, definitely consider buying points, because in the long run, it's going to save you like thousands of dollars in interest on that mortgage. And that's why people typically will buy points, is that the rates are high and they want to, they rather put more of a down payment early so that way they can save interest in the long run. And so again, if you're in that situation and you can consider buying points, something to look into. And guys, I got one more suggestion before I end the video, and that's, if you are in a position to do cosmetic work before you move in, I'm talking about like floors, painting, ceiling work, definitely do it. So let me paint the story here, guys. So when we bought our house, we legit had just gotten married. We had went to the FinCon conference. Right after that conference, we started the home buying process while we were trying to get out of our apartment. Not only that, we had just gotten, I already said we just got married, but we were actually getting ready for our honeymoon. And so when we bought our home and closed, we legit moved in November 2nd, and we had to go on our honeymoon November 9th. So we had like boxes and stuff everywhere. Like when we were on a honeymoon, they were still doing the lights. Like our contractor had to move stuff around it. We lived with holes in our ceiling. I mean, you get the picture. So if you're in a position to do that type of work, definitely do it before you move in, because you would hate to have to move in and then move all that stuff around, and it causes a lot of mess. So if you're in a position to where you can do some cosmetic work before you move in and get your furniture in, highly, highly recommend it. Now, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, press the like button as well as subscribe to my channel. And as always, guys, until next video, stay blessed and peace out.